Now, Sports Talk with Broads. Here's Hunter Brody.
Hey everyone, just know that you can use the promo code BROADS for $20 off of your SeatGeek's total purchase, so make sure you get yourself to a game. I can't say I'm surprised that the Eagles offense struggled to this degree. 17-10, they lose at home to the New England Patriots. I'm not surprised because I knew that there were no playmakers at the wide receiver position for Carson Wentz. But what I am shocked about is the play and the performance by the quarterback. Now, let me just say this. It's okay to be critical of your quarterback after a bad performance because that's what this was. This was a bad performance. But that doesn't mean he deserves to be traded. Get him out of town. He's not the right guy. He had a bad game. Criticize him all you want because it's deserving. But that doesn't mean he's not the quarterback of the Eagles moving forward and we can never do anything with him down the road. He had a bad football game. Be harsh. It's okay to be harsh. And it's also okay and logical to realize that there were no weapons for him. There are no playmakers at the wide receiver position, and he had a bad game. That's also a realistic option. It's not one or the other. It's not, well, if Carson Wentz would have done this, then the wide receivers would have had a better game. No, they were both bad. Both positions were bad. Carson's pocket presence was probably the worst I've ever seen. Held onto the ball too long. Missed wide open throws. Standard wide open throws. Missed some checkdowns. Fumbled right before half, which led to 3 points for the Patriots. Carson did not help this team whatsoever. Other than one drive where the squad went downfield, 10 minutes, milked the clock, and it resulted in a touchdown. And actually, there were some really great screen plays involved there. One to Aguilar and one to Dallas Goedert. And it ended up actually resulting in a touchdown for Dallas Goedert, which was a weird play because they called it an interception, but it was obvious that Goedert crossed the goal line with possession first. I was afraid because of the call on the field it was an interception that they wouldn't have enough evidence to overturn it or something. I was shocked that they made it the right call. But other than that drive, it was tough to watch. Carson Wentz couldn't deliver and couldn't make the simple plays. He was trying to do too much, really. But with all that being said, there was one play that will keep me up at night. Okay, here's the thing. It was really bad all around. The offense was really terrible. Once Lane Johnson went down on the right side, things fell apart. Whiteside came in. Jason Peters left at one point. Listen, I know it was brutal. But at the end of the game, on fourth down 7, Carson Wentz threw a dot to the back of the end zone, and Nelson Aguilar missed it. That was a dropped pass, okay? It was a dropped pass. I watch the NFL every Sunday. I see receivers left and right making these insane toe-tapping catches where their bodies fall out of bounds, but they keep their feet in by centimeters. I watch one-handed plays all the time. I watch receivers track these balls with their eyes closed downfield. Nelson Aguilar dropped a game-tying pass in the back of the end zone that was delivered where only he could make the catch. He had it in his hands. When you watch the replay that's all over Twitter right now, it makes my eyes bleed. Really, it's going to keep me up at night because that was a catchable football. There was another time in this game, it was third and long. Aguilar gets a pass that was somewhat, a little bit, tiny bit deflected, and he dropped it. So he had to punt. Later on in the game, I watch Edelman make this catch when the ball gets deflected a bunch of times and he finds a way to catch it and they move the sticks. There's no free passes for this dude, all right? I don't care if the ball got deflected and tipped on that third and long. Make the play. I don't care if it was a little bit of a tougher catch. Make the play. You're a playmaker. That's your job. At the back of the end zone, it was a little tough, but receivers make that play in this league. This is the top league in football. You are supposed to be good enough to come down with that ball. But what happens? It all comes back to, well, Carson Wentz needs to have a better game. And I definitely agree with that. I can't even tell you the last time I thought Carson played that poorly. Once again, no help. J.J. Arcega-Whiteside with one catch, which was a scramble where he actually came back. He did have a catch earlier in the game, but it got moved back because of a penalty. But where was J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, our second-round pick? Matt Collins, once again, not on there. Zach Ertz, 9 catches, 9 receptions. He was the only one making plays. But that's not going to work. You can't just target Zach Ertz the entire time and think you're going to have enough offense. You don't think Bill Belichick at some point is going to realize, okay, Zach Ertz is going to hurt us, but he's not going to destroy us if he's the only option available for them. Goddard missed some passes. He dropped a few. Here's one thing that bothers me. Doug Pederson got away from the game plan. He did. How effective were those screen passes early? They were definitely moving the sticks. Miles Sanders had 4 touches in the second half. I'm sorry, what? Boston Scott was getting these opportunities. Now, Miles Sanders went into the tent at one point, so that played a factor. But even when Boston Scott was returning punts, he looked terrible. Kicking the ball, fumbling the ball twice, kicking it out of bounds. Luckily, the punter couldn't actually get the ball, or else it would have been Patriots football. Sickening. Let's talk about the defense, though, because that was a positive, and it dates back to something I said earlier in the season. When Jim Schwartz had no talent back there because we picked guys up off the street, fire Jim Schwartz now! He stinks! He's the worst! His scheme's pathetic! And all I stated was, guys, there's no one there to play. He has 0 talent. Look at the defense now. They were fantastic in this game. If I can nitpick a little bit, and I think it's not, nitpick might be too strong of a word because there's a serious case for some of these points that I'm about to make. There were opportunities for the defense to be even better. And to win games like this, you need to be as perfect as you can be. Rodney McLeod dropped an interception in the end zone, which ultimately resulted into points for Tom Brady and the Patriots. You need to intercept that football. That has to be done. There was other opportunities where balls were up in the air when it hits Jalen Mills' arm or whatever. That one might have actually went out of bounds. But there were opportunities to come down with some interceptions, and you got to do it. You have to do it. You got to be perfect to beat teams like this, to beat well-coached teams like the Patriots. But for the most part, of course, the defense was awesome. And my point is, when Jim Schwartz actually has talent, look what happens. Ronald, Darby, and Jalen Mills were really good in this game, breaking up passes. What was I watching? Let me tell you, I watched our cornerbacks actually block a pass and break it up. Oh, what? That's a thing? Eagles cornerbacks can actually do that? So it's crazy how good the defense looks when there's talent there, when players are executing. No one's screaming to fire Jim Schwartz now, right? Talent matters. And when I say that, I also look at the offense and say, talent matters. Carson Wentz needs to be better without a doubt. You can't be successful when he misses that many wide open passes, when he's holding onto the football too long, when he's not checking down when he needs to. You're not going to win many football games when things like that happen. But I also think playmakers need to make plays. It can be both. It can totally be both. Matt Collins has played every game, right? Every game. He hasn't caught a ball in months. Months! That's almost impossible. Now, keeping it on the defense real quick. Brady was not comfortable. His offensive line is embarrassing. He was getting hit left and right. The Eagles' defense did what they needed to do. They played a good enough game. One thing that bothered me was Gary missed a tackle, which would have been a loss of yards, misses the tackle, and then there goes the Patriots moving downfield. I'll state it again. You almost need to be perfect to beat a team like this, in a game like this. I thought the Eagles left plays on the field. They could have won the game. With how ugly it was, they could have won this game. There were plenty of self-inflicted wounds involved. And that's why it's tougher to swallow. That's why it's more frustrating. Because I don't think the Patriots just beat us out there. I don't think I walk out of this game saying the Patriots just played a better game. They made the most of their opportunities, though. And of course, they score their touchdown on a trick play. Edelman to Dorsett. Of course, they tried another trick play in there as well. And that was one of the plays that Ronald Darby swatted it down. And the first play, I laughed. I laughed at the first trick play. Oh, you know that there was going to be something where they tried to get back on us because of the Philly special. They were trying to get back at the Eagles. Ain't going to work. Well, of course, it eventually does work. They've ran that play so many times before, though, that Edelman pass. It's very effective. It's very effective. You didn't see any of Jay Ajayi. Why? Not that that's the difference in winning this football game or not. He clearly just signed, but the reason why we signed him is he knows the playbook. He's been here before, so you can't use that as an example of not putting him in there. You would think at some points it's better than Boston Scott getting some run. I think we can all agree that the Boston Scott experiment didn't go as planned. Let me throw this out there to you, though. The Eagles, if Nelson Aguilar caught that ball, would have been down 17-16. Knowing how poorly the offense has been, knowing that they weren't able to move the ball effectively downfield, I would have went for two there to win it. You can counter that by saying the defense was playing so well that maybe they keep the offense involved and they can, if they're lucky, put a drive together and move downfield like they did for that 10-minute drive. But I think seeing how bad that offense was, I'll live and die by a play there at the goal line to try and win it. Because I just didn't have faith that the sticks would be moved in an overtime period. And considering that maybe there would be some momentum based off the fact that Carson Wentz did move them to the end zone to score with an opportunity to tie it up. But I'll tell you what, I will lose sleep over that Aguilar play. Sure, it was tough. But NFL receivers make plays that are tough. He will not make a play that is tough. He just won't. Now let's get to the offensive line. I don't think they played well. And Lane Johnson leaves with the head injury. That plays a big-time factor. Vaitai gets thrown in there. I saw Eagles Twitter freaking out saying Dillard should go to the right side. I thought it was pretty obvious that the Eagles were not going to put Dillard on the right side at all. He was going to stick at that left side, and that's his position. At the time, I was thinking of maybe putting Jason Peters to the right side and having Dillard on the left. But as a whole, I don't think the offensive line played very well. And even Jason Kelce was loud about that. He spoke out about that. He wasn't happy with his play. He wasn't happy. Carson Wentz did not help that. But the Eagles got away from the run game in the second half and made it easy for the Patriots. He made the squad one-dimensional. Dropping back, trying to throw the ball so much. Who are we trying to throw it to? Just Ertz? I know Ertz had 9 receptions for close to 100 yards. It was in the 90s. But one guy isn't going to beat a team. I almost thought at some points it was as if Bill Belichick was like, let Ertz have this one. Let Ertz have this one. He's not going to beat the team. Someone else had to step up. That was one big point I made previewing this game. Someone had to step up. There had to be a playmaker. Step up. You knew Ertz was going to give you a game like this. Who was going to be the guy? What receiver would make the play? You know who it was? No one. No one made the play. Let's get back to the film. 5-5. That's what this football team is. They are a 500 football team. Inconsistent. The offense couldn't move. Here's the thing, though. I'm going to have to be consistent, and I believe this. I stated the defense had no talent early on. That's why they were getting abused. This offense does not have enough talent Ertz can only carry you so far. Without Jordan Howard in the backfield, who was obviously a difference maker for this team, okay? You can see the difference on how he can run the ball with someone like Jordan Howard. So without Jordan Howard in the mix, and with only Zach Ertz, you're not talented enough. Jordan Matthews cannot be your number one receiver. It can't happen. You don't have enough talent, so you are very limited. With that being said, there are ways to put your team in a better position, and we did that early on. Bill Belichick is one of the best at making adjustments, so he clearly made some adjustments to stop that, but Doug needs to counter then. And I thought that there were plays that put this team in a better position. I mentioned the screen passes. Like, we went on a 10-minute plus drive, so at times we did things that were very effective. If Bill Belichick makes some changes, well then Doug Pederson makes some changes, but I don't think the answer is stop running the football as a whole and try and throw passes to Jordan Matthews. But what else are you going to do? Like, when I say that, I'm saying, who else are you going to throw it to, receiver-wise? The answer on what else is you going to do is be more creative, mix in more runs. But there we have it. There we have it. The Eagles fall. They're now 5-5. The Dallas Cowboys win against the Detroit Lions. And this 2-game stretch that we had, now tension is there because you need to win against Seattle. You need to win against Seattle. Very underwhelmed and disappointed in J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. Because you hear all this stuff about the playbook being too much for him to handle. Are you serious, dude? You went to Stanford. The playbook is too much for you to handle. I heard his name 2 times in this game. One did not count because of the penalty, as I stated, and then one was on a scramble, and I'm not going to say it was a poor play by him, but it was the only play by him. 2nd-round pick. So, looking ahead, not that I'm trying to get too far ahead of ourselves, though, what's going to change? Right? Like, what is going to change? Is Nelson Aguilar going to magically start catching balls? Is Alshon Jeffrey going to come back and rejuvenate this offense? He was dropping passes before he got injured. Jordan Howard coming back, that can change things, sure. But is that going to be enough? At the end of the day, Carson Wentz needs to be extremely better. Like, way better. We won't win football games if he plays like this. Now, I've seen him play way better more times than this. Like, for example, if I look at his career, all right, these games, these type of games, you see less than really good games. So I'm not gonna consistently think this will be the outcome out of Carson Wentz. But when I'm breaking down this bad boy, when I'm breaking down the game against the New England Patriots, he wasn't good enough. I can't get out of my head the open throws that he missed. Wide open. Mac Hollins at one point. Mac Hollins was wide open after a really nice move down the right sideline. Carson Wentz threw the ball 30 feet out of bounds. He missed Ertz wide open up the middle a few times. Missed a check down. Oh, man. How? But then there were also times where he delivered a strike to Ertz through 3 defenders. Like, how does that happen? How is it one extreme to the next? The game was there for the Eagles. The opportunity was there for the Eagles. The sad thing is, they didn't make enough plays on their end. Offensively. Defensively, a hell of a job. Still left some plays out there, though. That's me, really nailing down there, though. Really nailing down perfection defensively. But that has to be done. That saves 3 points on the board if Rodney McLeod comes down with it. And speaking of plays made, there was that one play, right, where they said the forward progress was stopped and it was a fumble, but they blew the whistle. Here's the thing. It might have been a bang-bang play where his knee was down, so it wouldn't have been a fumble. But the fact that Doug Pederson couldn't challenge the play because they said his forward progress was stopped, that was truly laughable. Now, it was super close, and I don't know if it would have been overturned, but if it was, the ball would have been at the 50. Instead, it was inside the 5. Now, once again, I don't think, and I only saw the replay maybe 1 or 2 times super briefly. I don't think they would have overturned it because it was so bang with the knee and the rip of the ball. But it was possible. Could have been a huge swing. Of course, I'm not blaming the game on that. But I thought that was interesting. You're never surprised with what the NFL can throw at you, what the referees can come up with. It's something new every week. Every week it's something new. Something ridiculous. Avonte Maddox got abused a few times. He didn't have his strongest game. Now, he got injured at one point. Edelman put him in a chokehold and roped him down on a play so he wouldn't intercept it. But I don't think Avonte Maddox had his strongest game at all. But I'm super impressed with Darby and Mills. There is some swagger with those two. It's actually fun to watch, not going to lie. Isn't it funny how brutal we were to Jalen Mills? And now we love him. Now we love him. So moral of the story, Wentz was bad. Doug Pederson was bad. Nelson Aguilar dropped the game-tying touchdown, or the game-winning, if we would have went for 2. Or a touchdown that would have meant nothing if we went for 2 and didn't get it. But my point is he dropped a big-time pass. Stop me if you heard that before. Because at the end of the day, the dot was there. The dot was there. And I just spoke about how sometimes Wentz threw these awful passes and sometimes he threw these lasers which were perfect. That was one of those throws that were perfect. Sadly, we know this receiving core. So there you have it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts down below. See you guys next time.